Public Affairs very much thanks Residco, our sole corporate underwriter, for helping to make the production of this show possible.
So we are going to be talking about perhaps the most important subject we have ever talked about. We're talking about preserving, saving a community. We're talking about, 15,000 kids who deserve an opportunity to understand what life is all about. And we have just the man here to tell us about that, because we have Pastor Corey Brooks, who's devoted, certainly most of your adult lifetime, 30 years or so.
30 years, yeah.
Yes, because you've been a pastor for 30 years.
Absolutely.
You've been heading up the New Beginnings Church on the south side.
Yes.
66th and King, is that right?
66th and King Drive, yes, sir.
And that's where the dream started, I guess?
Yes.
And you're also founder and CEO, of Project Hood.
Absolutely.
Are you the CEO as well?
I'm the CEO.
There's a CEO.
For now.
There's a CEO, but you're the CEO.
Yeah.
And Project Hood works in tandem with your efforts to assemble the money needed to replace what is Project Hood now, which is basically operating out of your church.
Yes.
And they would like an economic and a leadership and economic opportunity center.
Absolutely.
Lay it on. Tell the viewers just what it is this center is going to do that's so important.
Absolutely. Well, it's our Leadership and Economic Opportunity Center is a center that we're using to fight violence and poverty, specifically in Woodlawn, but we want to also reach into areas of Chatham and Englewood on the south side of Chicago. We believe that a community center is essential to helping us fight the issues of violence and poverty because of all the programs we're going to be offering. A lot of times when people think about a community center, they think about the YMCA or some other type of place of that sort. But this is not a YMCA. This is a transformational center. This is a place where people can go and learn a trade. It's a place where people can go and take entrepreneurial classes and learn economics. It's a place where we have sporting facilities, but we also have educational facilities. It's a place where there are going to be so many offerings for people to have the opportunity to transform their lives. And that's what makes us so unique. But all of it is focused on total transformation of not just the individual, but of the community as well.
And the transformation is kids that are in there. Transformation of adults.
Yes.
People who've gone astray sometimes. They've had some encounters with the correctional center.
Absolutely.
They've been sometimes in prison. They're now out. They're known as ex-offenders.
Yes.
Danny Davis would say it's a second chance.
Mm-hmm. So we have, as part of our team, we have a reentry person, a director. His primary job is to help those individuals who are entering back into society from being incarcerated, help them find jobs, help them become stable, help provide them the counseling that they may need so that they do not increase the numbers of recidivism. Our goal is to make sure that once an individual comes to us from out of prison, that they never go back. And not only that they never go back, but that we also give them a stable foundation to take care of not just themselves, but to take care of their family as well.
And do you have any statistics on it? Any metrics? How often do you succeed? How often do you fail? Can you give us any idea about that?
So right now we're hitting at about 80%. So we have about 100 people that we've had facilitated over the last 2 years, and 80% of those individuals have not gone back into the prison system. They're working jobs. Some of them have gone through our carpentry program that we have, and once they go through that training, we make sure that the next step is a real job where they're working and they're taking care of their families and they're earning a livelihood and they're learning to respect themselves and respect others. And as a consequence, we keep them out of jail.
Okay. And to give people an idea, a lot of people watching this show live in Chicago. They'll be around. Some of them have been on the South Side. They know the area, I think, well enough to know your church, 66th and King, the center right across from it. What goes on if we were there? Because you've been on the rooftop.
Yeah.
Explain to people you're off the rooftop for a week or so.
Yeah, I've been off the rooftop for about 3 weeks now, and I'm going to be going back.
Because you had the love, giving back the love to your mother. Right?
Absolutely. My mom was battling cancer, and I wanted to make sure that I was by her side. So I left the rooftop and decided to be with her and until she took her last breath. And so now that her journey is complete, I'm going to keep my journey going as she would want me to, and I'm going to go back to the roof and continue raising funds to build a community center. We've already raised $11 million. Our goal is $35 million. So we have $24 million to go. And I'm going to keep that effort going until we raise the funds. I just want to let you know that I am back on the roof. That's right, I am back. I want to say thank you for all your support, all your prayers. My family really appreciate it. We were able to give my mother a celebration of her life, and I was able to spend some time with family. But now I am back on the roof, and I'm fully committed to getting the job done. That's right, I want to do what my mom told me. I want to get it finished. I want to finish the work that I started. So I'm asking you to join in with me. I'm asking you to get motivated all over again. I'm asking you to help me build momentum all over again. And if you don't mind, please, would you find 5 people that would give the gift, match your gift, the gift that you gave. So that means I'm asking you to help me find those individuals, share with them what we're doing, and I'm asking you to ask them to match your gift. Today, we get it started. I'm going to try to get off this roof as fast as I possibly can. This summer is going to be definitely hot, and I don't want to be here all summer, but if I have to, I will. But I believe with your help, we can get the task accomplished, and we can be successful in what we're trying to do, and we can bring about a tremendous change to the south side of Chicago and help so many people. So, God bless you. Thank you.
You live what? You live maybe a mile or so from where your church is, right?
Yes.
Sort of like the church 66th and King, you're over there on Woodlawn?
Yes, Kimbark.
In Kimbark,
Yes.
okay. Close to Woodlawn, but not, I know that street. I lived on Kimbark once upon a time.
Yeah.
Now, in Hyde Park, a little bit different area,
A
perhaps.
little different.
What's your area like where you live? How much, is it safer than where things are on the church? About the same? What's it like?
You know, it may be a little safer, but it's
Yeah.
it's not that much more safe. We've had individuals last summer to be shot right on Kimbark, right on the block.
You have, right where you
Yeah,
live, right
yeah,
on the,
yeah. 2 individuals, two teenagers, I believe.
what time of day?
One was around 7 in the evening. The other one was around noon in the day. So, you know, Woodlawn is a place where violence can happen at any time, just like most areas on the south side of Chicago.
Most areas, yeah. Because some people said this was, your church is in on the most dangerous block in the city.
Yeah, the Chicago Sun-Times wrote an article called "The Most Dangerous Block in Chicago," O Block, which is 64th and King Drive, Parkway Gardens. We took that personal when we read that article, and we said, listen, we're going to do something about it. So we decided that we're going to put all of our energy and effort to make sure that we change that. And thankfully, we've gone from being third as far as homicides and shootings to now we're not even in the top 30 as far as that area that they claim to be the most dangerous. Yeah.
So you're making some progress.
We're making a lot of progress.
And so you want to be on the roof, and you were there before, you're going back, and you're saying you're going to stay there until you raise the $35 million?
Yeah. Yeah, I got to stay there until we raise the money. I don't.
What's the symbolism of the roof, or is it more than symbolism? Why is it significant that you're on the roof?
Absolutely. So in 2011, I went up on the roof of a motel that was right across the street from where we are, our church, where we're going to build this center. And I went on the top of the roof of that motel, and I stayed there for 94 days to raise the money to build that community center. To raise the money to purchase that hotel. So we raised the money, took 94 days. I stood on that roof for 94 days, and we purchased it and tore it down. Now we're duplicating that effort. And so instead of tearing something down, we're trying to build something up. Instead of me doing it by myself that first time around, I'm doing it with CEOs and university presidents and people of influence and who are helping us out. And all of so the Rooftop Experience was born out of that.
So when these CEOs and other potential contributors come there and sit with you on the roof, what do they hear? What do they see if they look down below you? You're about just one story up from the ground level, right?
Yes.
What do they see and hear?
Two stories.
Two stories, yeah.
Yeah. So, they get to hear the sirens. I think one of the things that most of the CEOs talk about is the fact that they just can't believe how many sirens there are, especially at night. Secondly, they talk about how loud the train is where we are, and how they can't believe children could sleep under those conditions.
Which train? Is this the L? Is this the Metro? What train are we
No,
talking
this is the train, not the Metro. This is the train that runs throughout the country.
Amtrak?
Not Amtrak. This is the rail. This is where they transport goods from the north.
Freight train.
Freight trains, yeah, from the East Coast to the West Coast. It's the hub, and where we're located is one of the major hubs for the train system, and it's very, very loud at night. You would not believe it, and the kids who live in Parkway Gardens are directly impacted by that noise. So they talk about that. They talk about the shootings that they hear, because they hear, often they hear gunfire, and a lot of them come from places where they've not had to deal with that, and so they hear all the noises and all the things that have brought attention to the South Side of Chicago.
And so if you get the center, the gunshots go away, the sirens go away. Is that how that happened?
So if we get the center, we definitely make sure that it decreases. If you get the center and you start to develop people's lives and you start to give them opportunities that they have not had, then the desire to be on the block, the desire to be a shooter, the desire to feel like you don't have any hope and there's no one trying to help you figure it out, that is taken away. So at this center, we're going to help build dreams. We're going to help people to be inspired to live a better life, to participate in what all of us as Americans want to participate in a system that gives them the liberties and the freedoms to find opportunities and to do something different. That's what this center is really all about. It's a place where we're gonna create hope, and we're gonna have it in a peaceful environment, which is so important because there's so much discontent and unease in our community, and people need a safe, peaceful place.
So, if you get that center and you start
When
doing
we get the center.
when you get the center.
Yeah.
So you start doing this training, you start doing vocational training, you have people find this if they go to the Project Hood website, projecthood.org.
Yes.
You see about the vocational training. People who are gangbangers, they're going to come to you and say, I want to give up that life.
They're already doing it.
They're already doing it.
Yeah,
Some of the gangbangers do pretty well economically. Why are they giving it up?
Well, being a gangbanger isn't very lucrative, contrary to what people would think. A lot of people think the gangbangers out here making a lot of money and they got a lucrative lifestyle. That's very few. Most of them are impoverished. That's one of the reasons why they continue to do what they do, and they find themselves in a vicious cycle of violence and poverty. What we're doing is breaking that cycle by saying, hey, here's an opportunity. And not only is it an opportunity that you can do, it's something that we're going to walk you through. We're going to walk you, and we're going to help you to learn responsibility. We're going to help you to learn to love yourself, to love your neighbor, to love your community. And we're going to give you the tools that no one else has given you so that you can be successful. And what we've discovered is that people find dignity in that. A guy off the block who has lost hope, a guy off the block who does not have any skills, a guy off the block who feels like the world is against him and no one wants to affirm him, accept him, or give him a chance. When he finally gets that and people are backing him that really love him and want him to see him succeed, he succeeds. And that's what we're finding. That's what we're seeing every single day.
But the first order of business is to restore safety to
Yes.
that community.
Yes.
I mean, we've got some slides which we use on the show from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
We've got one that you're right in front of you. Chicago leads in big city homicides.
Yes.
So over the last 60 years, this slide looks at 1960 to 2020.
Mm-hmm.
We plot the number of homicides, I guess, per 100,000 in Chicago, in Los Angeles, in New York. And they start out, these lines move together in the first 20 or 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago and New York and LA are all going up. But then in the latter period, New York goes way down.
Mm-hmm.
LA, it goes down. Chicago starts going down, but then it gets flat and it goes up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Why the difference? Why do you suppose? You're certainly a worldly man, even though you're a man of the cloth.
Two things. Los Angeles developed the system of building community centers throughout Los Angeles with the focusing on kids that I believe really helped to transition it. New York started allowing more charter schools, which opened up a better educational system. I think those two things played a major part in the violence decreasing. And I think Chicago, the fact that it's so anti-charter school, not just Chicago, but the state of Illinois, and the fact that we don't have enough community centers that are viable, that are helping to build people's lives. I think those are major problems. And I think if we don't find out ways to have connection points, meaningful connection points, we'll continue to see these numbers of violence to spike.
So that point about community centers is important. Community is important.
Yes.
You grew up not in Chicago. You grew up in Muncie,
Yes.
Indiana.
Muncie, Indiana. Ball State University.
But so different worlds, perhaps, from Chicago.
Yes.
It was a community?
Yeah.
Was it a segregated community?
Pretty much so. I mean, you have one part of town where you have mostly blacks, and you have another part of town where the whites live, and you have a part of town where even within that you have people who are more poverty stricken who live in a certain place, and then people who had a little bit more influence, live in certain places. So yeah, it was pretty much segregated.
But number one, it wasn't ideal. It wasn't voluntarily segregated.
No.
A lot of that was enforced by the government in parts, perhaps elsewhere. But I know you've talked, I think, about this perhaps with Shelby Steele, with Bob Woodson. There's a sense by them and others that at one point the black culture was doing quite nicely.
Correct.
It was, we want to have an area, we want to have a world and a country in which things are integrated.
Right.
We want to have the world in which Dr. King's dream is honored and people are judged by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. But at that time, I get the impression from your conversations, one thing that blacks did have is their own culture, their own sense of community, their own sense of self-worth, their own sense of independence, of being able to take responsibility.
Yes.
How was that lost, or was it lost?
Absolutely. Well, the influence of government strongholds, the influence of white liberalism, and not just, and I don't even want to say white liberalism. I want to say liberalism.
Okay.
Liberalism, the influence of it in our communities helped to put policies in place that help to tear away the fabric of our community. One of those things would be family. the liberal policies of the government trying to help impoverished families by telling women, we will assist you and we will give you a check, but you cannot have a husband or you cannot have a man in the house, instantly impacted where we started to decline in the numbers of homes ran by single parents. Those numbers started to increase dramatically. And I think some of those liberal policies have helped to put our families in a bad predicament.
And so is what you're doing in part trying to compensate for some of those things until you and others can figure out how to get back to having a solid family structure? Is that something you want to have, two-parent families, the same
For
kind
sure.
of family structure? But until you can do that, you have to find a stopgap.
Yeah.
You
Two things
can't
have
just
to
say,
happen. Yeah, you have to have a
know,
stopgap,
yeah.
and you also have to have a place that teaches those principles. Gone is the place that teaches young Black boys that, listen, before you make these babies, you should have a wife. Your child would be so much better off if you were married to his mother. We don't have those institutions saying that. Our schools are not saying it. And these policies are only hurting us more and more every single day.
Is that something your center would be saying,
For sure.
inculcating those values?
We would definitely teach values. You know, it's not so much about being a place that only has opportunities, but we have to build character as well. And I say that because what good is it for us to get you in a room and give you an opportunity, but your character is a mess? So we not only want to work on the skills and the trades, we want to work on the character of a person too. And so those values, certain core values that we want to teach, like family, is important to us.
And you come back next week and every week to Public Affairs.